Hey guys, so I want to talk a little bit about amplification of small signals using transistors and MOSFETs. So basically, a transistor works by letting a lot of current flow, which is larger than the current applied to its base, which activates the larger current flow. The ratio between those two currents is called the gain. The gain is kind of set by resistors as well as the transistor's inherent capability. Most resistors have a gain from around 25 to 50. That means if a 2 milliamp current flows through the base, then from the other two pins, the emitter and the collector, around 50 to 100 milliamps is allowed to flow through the circuit. So enough talk, let's take a look at a circuit I have here. So this is it's really quite simple. We have our voltage source here. It's coming into the transistor, out through this LED, and back to ground. And right now it's being powered by about 3 volts, and nothing is happening until I press this button. You can see also the small current from my body, or the frequencies that my body are picking up, are also turning on the LED. But you can see it's much brighter when we turn on the switch, and that is taking a very small current and is basically amplifying it. Now in this circuit, to be quite honest with you, the current gain is close to 1. It's mostly acting as a switch because I have the same value resistor here and here, and there's a voltage drop on the diode, so it might actually be lower than 1. But it's still a good example of how a transistor can be used as a switch to amplify small currents. So if I wanted to, I could have a little Arduino here, and I could send a small signal to the base of this transistor, and it could turn on a quite large LED using a regular power supply, like 12 volts or something like that, and it could, theoretically power it using a small microcontroller like this. Now, there's another type of transistor that's often used in power electronics to switch power supplies, and that is the MOSFET. A MOSFET, or metal oxide semiconductor field effect transistor, is not current controlled, meaning that it relies on voltage across its base. It's not really a base, it's called the gate in MOSFETs, to control the larger current flow. This means it can have an even higher current and voltage gain, as tiny amounts of current are needed to control the MOSFET. An example of a low power MOSFET, sometimes used in amplification, is the 2N7000. I have several here, and I'll show you that. Quite a few here. They're very cheap. They can handle about 0.6 watts, and I'll show you that in a second. I also wanted to show you this because it's kind of interesting. So we have the same circuit here, except I've got a MOSFET in place of the 2N2222, and this specific one is the 2N7000, and the LED is on, and it is a regular MOSFET. There's no trickery going on here, and when I press the switch, it gets slightly brighter, then a little darker, and well, you might wonder what's going on here. You're supposed to have to put voltage across the gate to get it to conduct, and really the MOSFET is picking up signals, well, specifically the electromagnetic waves from your house mains electricity, and it is turning it into a larger current gain. And essentially, it's a little receiver for static and electromagnetic fields. So you can see this LED is kind of blinking a little bit, and that is the mains electricity. These are not on, but when they are on, it's even more noticeable. But you have to actually set up this circuit a little bit differently. You need to have a high resistance resistor involved in it, just to sort of take away the static charge that is present in order to allow the MOSFET to operate normally. But I just thought that was kind of interesting. So yeah, MOSFETs can be used to detect electric fields as well, so just keep that in mind. As any component does, these transistors have their limits. So right now I have a short circuit, and I'm going to turn up the voltage a little bit, about 5 volts. We're going to turn on the transistor, see what happens. Let's try it. It's very hot. And if I turn the voltage up, About 22 volts. Let's see what happens now. Oh, smoking a little bit. Ow! So my resistor actually blew out. You just want to be careful not to overload these things. They can get quite hot. So this is really very warm. It's probably damaged, so I'm going to give it the old bendaroo and throw it out. But MOSFETs can generally handle more current, I think. The bigger ones, because they usually come in a larger package. So this is a typical MOSFET package, is the TO220 2000 or 220. You see it's actually got a metal backing, so it can absorb more heat or dissipate more heat, sorry. But yeah, MOSFET's generally the transistor of choice for amplification. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other videos, and I'll see you again later.